Hey y'all, welcome back to Chocolate Covered Pages. I'm Kiona, and y'all know I have been in my backlist bag, okay? But I've also been reading some new releases that have come out this year, and right now I'm finally ready to talk about them. So let's get into it. So y'all already know I don't do too much talking. We're going to get straight into the video. But right before I do, I need you to give me a thumbs up and subscribe if this is your first time here. So the first book I want to talk about is going to be Brooklyn by Tracy Brown. This book came out in February and I love this book. I really enjoyed this book. Once again, Tracy Brown has proven to us why she is one of the best urban fiction authors to ever do it, in my opinion. Rest in peace to her. This is a book that she obviously wrote right before she passed away. This is about a girl named Brooklyn, and Brooklyn, she's an interesting character, okay? Brooklyn don't care nothing about nobody but Brooklyn, basically. And it's interesting because Brooklyn is really not even set in Brooklyn, which, you know, I would prefer it was set in Brooklyn. Obviously I'm from Brooklyn, but it is mostly set in Staten Island, like most of Tracy Brown's books, and it also spends some time in Harlem. You know, one thing Tracy Brown is always going to give us, and that is plot, okay? There are things happening. There are secrets being revealed. I never knew where this book was going to go. Brooklyn was written in a way where we're not supposed to like her. Okay? Mission accomplished, by the way, because I did not like her. But needless to say, this being a new release this year, this was definitely, I think I gave this 5 stars. Yes, I did give it 5 stars. This was a 5-star read for me, for sure. I'm going to wrap this one up really quickly because I definitely did a full-on reading vlog for this book back in February. I will put it up here and down below if you want to check it out. Okay, so that was February. I'm going to be looking down because obviously my notes are in my phone. So that was in February. Now let's move over to March. So in March we have James by Percival Everett. Now this, even though this came out in March, I finished this recently, and honestly, they not lying. They are not lying. This book was, what's the word I want to use? Like, it was an adventure. Now, let me just preface this by saying, I have never read The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Never read it. Never read it. I'm not that interested in reading it. I was gonna try to like push through and read it just because, you know, just to see the comparison. But a lot of people that have done that, they're like, you don't really need to read Huckleberry Finn. And baby, that's all I needed to know because I didn't want to read it in the first place. So James, it was, okay? And this is also my first Percival Everett book, and I have been collecting a lot of his books. And I'm just happy to have picked up his latest. And now I just know that I really enjoy his writing. So I'm so excited to get to his other books that I have in my library. So this is inspired by Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. There's a character in that book named Jim who is a slave. And this is Jim's story. I'm just gonna say it. First of all, my husband's name is James, so I have a slight affinity for the name James. I mean, what can I say? First of all, I love that this book is called James, but him as a slave, he's known as Jim. If you know someone named James, then you know the James and the Jim and you know, kind of like what that means. You know what I mean? Like, or maybe you don't know what I mean. But basically, to call someone James, Jim, is very personal. A lot of people that are named James, only certain people call them Jim. Like they family, you know, tight buddies. So I just found that to be really interesting that he called it James instead of Jim. I love that. If you don't know what this book is about Jim, and Jim finds out that Jim is a slave, and Jim finds out that he is going to be getting sold, right? Jim has a wife, he has a daughter, and he decides, you know what, instead of me waiting around to get sold, I'm gonna make a run for it. Okay, and when he makes a run for it, he ends up running into Huck. The characters that they come in contact with, some of the most bizarre situations. It's just like, wait a second, how do we get here? I'm interested, but like, how did we get to this? Like, some of the characters were just so random. Even though some of these characters were quite bizarre, the racism is always lurking in the background, right? Even for some of the characters that you're thinking, oh, maybe he not, you know, maybe he's different. No. Percival reminds us that, you know, it could just be lurking in the background, the right situation, and it might just pop out. You know, this book is written so well. I listened to the audiobook. The audiobook narrator for this is so good. Like, he just has like the perfect voice that you would think of when you think of what Jim might sound like. I don't know why, but it just fit. It literally just fit. And the code switching that Jim does, I find it so hilarious. And also the way Jim describes reading and books and writing, I was just loving it. As a reader, and hearing him talk about like wanting to read and loving to read, and it just made me so thankful that I'm able to read. I'm able to talk about reading, and you know, and just read whatever I want. And I mean, I was listening, and I was just like, yeah, Jim, like, I feel you. Like, that's how I feel. Seriously. But yes, if you have not already checked out this book, you definitely are gonna want to purchase this one, especially us historical fiction lovers. You know, I didn't read Huckleberry Finn. As I said already, I feel like if you know the premise of Huckleberry Finn, then you'll be fine. Cause I just feel like Percival just, like, this is his story. You know what I mean? Like, this, forget the adventures of whatever. This is his story, in my opinion. I feel like he did such a phenomenal job on this. Such a phenomenal job. Alright, so another book that came out in March that I ended up reading was Where Sleeping Girls Lie by Farida Abiki Ayamade. This is a YA like dark academia mystery thriller type of novel. And I'll just cut to the chase. It didn't work for me. Okay? I was a very big fan of her first book, Ace of Spades, and to me, this one felt very Ace of Spades. It did. And if you read Ace of Spades and then you read this one, you're going to be like, this is the same book. This is practically the same book with a different setting. So this book is set in a boarding school, a very rich boarding school, right? So I thought that I was gonna be getting, like, you know, Gossip Girl, Pretty Little Liars. I thought I was gonna be getting, you know, rich black girls, you know, doing stuff, you know, and that's not what I got. That's not what I got. I pretty much got Ace of Spades. Pretty much. And I also feel like this one was at least 100 pages too long. I feel like I could have DNF'd this, but I had already read so much of it that I was just like, let me just go ahead and finish. And then when I finished, I was annoyed as well. Like, I was just annoyed all over again because I was just like, I freaking knew it. Like, I knew what was going to be the outcome, and it ended up being the outcome, and I was just like, this is what you get. Like, this is what you get. When your gut tells you to DNF something, just do it. Don't fight it. Just do it. If this book is still of an interest to you, I would suggest maybe getting it from the library. But what I will say is that had I not read Ace of Spades, I probably wouldn't have been as annoyed with this book. I still would have thought that it was like way too long. Like, it was just way too long. It was just going on and on and on, and I was just like, please make it stop. I might have given it a higher rating had I not read Ace of Spades. So do what you will with that information, okay? Whether if you have not read Ace of Spades, you might be interested in this one. Okay, so I didn't read any April releases. I did read a May release, and that is going to be The Library Thief by Kuchinga Shinji. Now this book is, I'm going to hold it up actually. Now this book, this is not the final cover, by the way. This is just the advanced reader cover. So this book is a historical fiction. It is set in 1896. We are following a young woman named Florence who grew up with her father, and she does something as a young lady that, you know, her father just can't forgive. He cannot forgive what she did. He feels like she's a disgrace to their household, blah blah blah, right? So the father is a bookbinder. So a rich man has written to her father like, listen, I have this library. I really want you to come to my library and I will pay you to fix it. I will pay you to fix a lot of these books that I have in my library that really just kind of need your touch, right? The father does not answer, but the daughter does, because she's like, listen, I have to get out of Manchester. You know, my father wants nothing to do with me. Like, what am I gonna do? I need to support myself. So she shows up at this man's estate, right? She shows up at his estate and she's like, listen, my father sent me in his place. And she becomes this man's bookbinder in his home. And when she's at the home, you know, the man whose house it is, his wife has recently passed away not too long ago. And it is a lot of rumors about what has happened to his wife, right? So this, naturally, the bookbinder is extremely freaking nosy, and she is just all up in stuff. She's all up in stuff. She's all up in, you know, the man house and his. She's not just looking into the books. She's doing other stuff. I like this book. I liked it. I did. I found that it was unique, because I have not read a historical fiction featuring bookbinders. So I thought that that was cool. There is definitely a lot of mystery in this one, but I also just really enjoy just the historical fiction of it all, you know, just it being set in the 1800s. This young woman living in this very rich manor, her just coming into her own and becoming a full-on woman. Another thing that I do want to mention for trigger warnings is that there is a R in this book. So please keep that in mind if you do decide to pick this up. There is definitely some queer love in this book that I was not expecting at all. It definitely talks a lot about race and gender and, you know, sexuality. Like, there are a few things going on in this book, and yeah, I liked it. I liked it. It's also described as gothic. I'm not sure that I would give it the gothic description, but I would say go into it knowing that it's a historical fiction with some suspense. And I would leave it at that. Okay, so now let's talk about June. In June, Do What Godmother Says by L.S. Stratton came out. Now, this is L.S. Stratton's second mystery thriller. This was my first one reading from her, and I'm just going to be straight. I did not care for this book. As far as mystery thrillers go, like, I did not care for this book. And I'm going to break it down for you what my problems were. Okay, first let me tell you what the book is about. So the book is about a Harlem Renaissance artist, and she is kind of wrapped up, like, her and her art are wrapped up in this white lady that is called Godmother, right? And we are following what has happened back in the day with this black woman, right? Those are the parts that I enjoyed. Everything in the past I loved. I felt like the character that we was following in the past was very compelling and engaging and interesting, right? And then we also flip to present day, where we are following a young lady named Shanice, and this painting, one of the very last paintings that this woman from back in the day has painted, has been passed down throughout Shanice's family, and now it's now in her possession, right? So I did not like anything in present day. I found Shanice to be highly annoying. Even the narration, because I was listening to it on audiobook, even the audiobook narrator for Shanice was annoying. Like, the voice was just terrible. I'm sorry. Like, I was just thinking, absolutely not. I wish I could fast forward this. Like, it was just... it was not good. It was not good. Now, the audiobook narration for the lady from back in the day, good. Very good. It should have just been her book. We didn't need the present. We didn't need any of that mystery. We didn't need any of that, because, baby, I knew what was going to happen, I don't know, like halfway through the book. Halfway through, I knew what was going to happen. I had mapped it all out. And then I ended up being completely correct, which absolutely pissed me off, because I was just thinking I could have DNF'd this, right? But, like, where's the razzle dazzle? Like, where is it? This is a mystery thriller. I was not thrilled. What is going on? Like, why was I so bored? I could not wait to finish this book. I was just thinking, like, this is a classic case of, you should have just let it be a historical fiction novel. Like, give us historical fiction girly something. Don't try to make it into a mystery thriller and no, that's the part that didn't work. The historical fiction part, now that was good. That I like. Now this you're on point with, as Phaedra would say. Now, but this, it just didn't work for me, and I would tell y'all to get it from the library, but I wouldn't even waste a checkout on it. I feel bad, but I didn't like this. Now you can take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but I did not like this new release. I don't know what is I don't know if what's the story with her first book, but this one I was not a fan. And I love the cover. I love the cover. It was giving, that's what made me pick it up, is because I was like, oh wow, look at that cover. Yeah, let me check it out. You know what I mean? And it was just, this was a fail for me, for sure, for sure. And also too, this is my last thing. And also too, the young lady, Shanice, like, she was just not very bright. And it was just like, girl, the answer is right in your face. Like, it's so clear what is going on right now, and you're like, huh? What? Huh? Like, she was just like, I just wanted to just tap her on her damn forehead, like, girl, go to bed. Just go to bed. Sell that painting. Don't sell it, whatever. Like, I can't even deal with you right now. Now, another book that came out in June is another mystery thriller, and that's gonna be The Bitter Truth by Shanora Williams. Okay, so in this book we meet a man named Dominic, and Dominic is running for mayor. So he's running for mayor. He has a beautiful wife. Everything seems perfect. And then he starts getting these notes that are basically saying, I know what you did. You won't get away with this. And we start to wonder, well, like, what the hell did Dominic do? But one thing is for certain, is Dominic is definitely hiding something. The question is it just him? Are there other people involved? What did he do? Right? What did he do? And his wife, Jo, she is starting to feel like he's hiding something as well. And then she begins to start doing her own digging. So I think that's all I want to tell y'all, because a lot happens in this book, and it's best that you kind of go into it blind. I didn't know any of this when I started the audiobook for this. And this is my third Shanora Williams, and I will say that I do like Shanora Williams mystery thrillers. They are, at the very least, super solid mystery thrillers. Like, I'm not mad at them, and y'all know, like, bad mystery thrillers be just pissing me off. But no, her mystery thrillers have at least been either solid, like I'm not mad at it, it's cool, to I really like this, right? So this one, I feel like I liked it. I like this one. Like, I listened to it, it was quick, it got to the point, I was surprised. This is what I'm looking for. I'm not asking for too much. I am not asking for too much. I just want to be surprised. I don't want to write the whole book in my head and then be right. I hate that. I do want to give trigger warnings for some violence against women, in case that is a trigger for you. And also some triggers for the R word. I don't know why I was reading all these books with that in there. It just happened that way. I don't know why. But anywho, so yes, that one I enjoyed. I would say if you could get it on the audiobook, that would be a good one to listen to, because it's quick. If you got a little road trip going, you know, you could easily finish that book in, I think I finished this book in like 2 days tops. Another book we have in June is going to be Little Rock by Akwaeke Emezi. In this book, we are following mainly 5 characters. It literally takes place in Nigeria over the span of a weekend. A couple named Aima and Kalu have just broken up. Aima was supposed to go off to, I think, London, but she decides not to go to London. She decides to actually stay in Nigeria and just stay with her best friend. So Kalu thinks that she's, you know, off in another country or whatever, and he decides that he is going to you know, try to make himself feel better by going to a sex party. And this sex party is one of many that his best friend hosts, right? And him being at this sex party is what kicks off the rest of the book. He sees something at this sex party and he reacts to it, and it is a complete domino effect for what happens for the rest of the weekend. When I tell you this book, it's like being in a race car, this book, because it's just all gas, no brakes. Because we are not only in the present with all the mayhem that's going on in the present, but we are also taking look backs into the past on, you know, Aima and Kalu's relationship. We're looking at the relationship between Kalu and his best friend. And I mean, like, it's just so much that happens in this book. And this book is not even long. It's not even long at all. And one thing I'm just gonna say, and just say it now, is that Akwaeke Emezi knows how to write a book for the freaking summer. Like, they just do. Because it's giving, you made a fool of death with your beauty. I thought that was like, okay, the mess that's in this book is giving summertime. But the mess that's in Little Rot is giving summertime, but it's also giving, like, I want you to feel me. I want you to feel this pen. Even though it's the summertime, I'm going to give you a lot of stuff that make your heart race, and you're not going to be able to put this book down. But I'm going to also make you fully understand why did I call this book Little Rot. Right? I would love to do a discussion on this book. I have hopped in a few DMs already to talk to people that have finished this book, because I feel like you can't fully dig deep with this book without giving spoilers. You have to talk about what actually takes place in this book and people's feelings, what the title of Little Rot means, because it gets touched on, but then when you finish the book and you really give it some even more thought, and you just like, yo, this was different. This book was different. And I know that a lot of people, it's gotten mixed reviews. Honestly, it has gotten mixed reviews, and a lot of people have said this book is disgusting. It is disgusting. It is. I'm not gonna lie to you. There is so much shit in this book that it's hard for me to say, oh, I recommend this, because it's not going to be for everybody. This is definitely one that is not going to be for everybody. And, you know, that's okay. That is absolutely okay. But the writing in this book is just top notch. Top notch. And I think that for me, like, another thing that has been bothering me lately is with a lot of new releases coming out this year, is that me reading a lot of backlists and then comparing it to the new releases, it ain't the same, baby. Like, it's just not the same. It's not hitting the same. The writing is not up to the same, you know, it's not up to par. It's not up to the same standard that it was at before. And, you know, which is why I'm trying to just keep expanding, you know, to find these really good writers that just kind of light that fire under me and just make me excited about reading these new releases. Because I'm telling you, I'm at the point where I kind of just want to stay back there. Like, I kind of want to just stay back there and just, like, because I like it there. I'm enjoying it, you know. I don't know, like, half of these new releases I'm wanting a DNF, or I'm just feeling like, where's this going? So again, this book is not going to be for everyone. There's definitely some pedophilia in this book. Many trigger warnings. Many trigger warnings. But again, if you can look past that and you can handle that, this I feel like this book is really good. I feel like this book is phenomenal. Like I appreciated this book for definitely for what it was. Now, would I have liked more out of the ending? Yes, I will say that. But I still loved it. So we're going to stay in June. And another book that came out in June is going to be Bad Influence by Brandon Massey. Now, this is my second Brandon Massey. Brandon Massey has been writing for many years. Many years. He has many books underneath his belt. I think that played a part in how I felt about this book as well. Bad Influence is about a couple. They are separated at this point. They're having some trouble. They're separated. They have a 13-year-old daughter named Harper, and Harper has made a new best friend in school like this. The little girl's name is Scarlett. Scarlett is 14. And basically what this book is about is the fact that Scarlett is a terrible influence on Harper. Scarlett is a bad seed, okay? We have all read those mystery thrillers where, the terrible person is a child, right? So this is that. Okay, if you're into that, this is that. But the worst part is that Scarlett's parents have some kind of influence over Harper's father. I was just angry at so many people in this book. Like, I just wanted to just slap everybody around, like with the backhand, like one of those, like, it was just the things that was going on in this book. I just found it to be super unrealistic. I was very much aware of the fact that I was reading a book. If that makes sense. I was very much aware of that, and I feel like in order to enjoy this book, you have to completely remove the logic part of your brain and say, I'm just reading. Forget it. Forget if this makes sense. I am just reading and I'm loving it, right? Yeah, no. Like, some of the stuff that went on in this book was just like, what is happening right now? What I was hoping for, right? Let's say hoping. What I was hoping for was the fact that since Brandon Massey has been writing for so long, mystery thrillers, horror, mystery thriller, horror, right? I was just hoping that the writing would be up to a different standard. And to me, the writing on this one felt very dated. Like, even some of the things that were being said, like in dialogue, it just felt very dated. Like he was still writing in the 90s, if that makes sense. And I have read one of his older books. It's called The Other Brother. And it felt very much like The Other Brother as far as like the writing and stuff like that. Like, it just didn't, like, it didn't feel like it had leveled up, if that makes sense. And that sounds terrible, but honestly, that's how I felt. That's how I felt. And I was just a bit disappointed by that, because I was absolutely expecting more. I really was. It just felt very like, it was just written very plainly. Like, there was no, I don't know how to put it without sounding like, I just wanted more from it. I expected more from it. Another thing that I will say is that once we get towards the end where everything kind of comes to a head, I'm expecting expecting things to be like to happen on the page. Like, okay, so then this happened and then this, you know, like, keep us in the loop here. You've kept us on this roller coaster with you this entire time, and now you like, okay, the ride is over. Here's a bow. Put it on. It's the end. The end. And it's just like, hold on a second. What about this? Well, how did this happen? How do we get to this? You know, you can't just fast forward 9 years later and it's just like, yeah. I mean, what happened in between? I don't know. That irritated me. It felt like he was just ready to wrap up the book. I'm gonna just say that. That's how I felt. That's how I felt. So, yeah, I would say if you want to get to that one, I would definitely grab it on audio, on Libby, on Libby or Scribd or something. I think I listened to it on Scribd. I think so. But I would not use a credit on it. It's such a quick book, and to me, it's just not robust. Like, it's just not. I won't remember this, if that makes sense. I know I won't. I will not, unless somebody brings it up. So, but yeah, so that was it for June. So now we move into July, and I have read Midnight Rooms by Danya Coles. And I just want to say that, first of all, I absolutely love this cover. I took a cute photo with it, and now I'm really not sure if I'm going to post it. I didn't care for this. And I hate that, because I was really looking forward to this book. I really was. And it took me so long to read it. It took me so long to finish it. And I kept saying to myself, like, no, seriously, I have been reading this damn book since, let's see, I got the advanced reader copy for this book back in December. I have been trying to read this book, I want to say, since April. And I just finished it. Like, I was reading it, and it's like, it took me so long to get to 20%. You know, the very, very beginning is it's good. It makes you want to, like, okay, where are we going with this, right? So let me just tell you, Broke Black Girl, right? What year is this? I'll just tell you. England, 1840. Okay? 1840, this black girl is living with the well, she's biracial. She's living with the white side of her family. This is her aunt and uncle, and she has no money, right? She has no money. Finally, and her father has passed away with a lot of debt, right? So the uncle has finally found a man to marry her. And they're like, oh, good. You know, like, oh, good. Because this dude is going to, you know, pay the bride price. And he going to get her up out of here because I'm tired of taking care of her. That's basically what happens. And then this man named Elias, he shows up. And, you know, and I love the main character, Arabella, in the beginning, because she is, even though she knows she broken, she don't really have a choice, because she ain't got no money. She don't got no money. She needs some type of husband to give her some kind of, you know, security in life. She can't live with her aunt and uncle for forever. She don't even really love living there in the first place. So, you know, but she's still playing it off like, yeah, so, you know, what do you have to offer? And like, like, I'm there reading it like, girl, you know, you better get your ass in his car. Like, But no, seriously, like, and he knows this as well. Elias knows this as well, but he's still playing it up or whatever. He's being super nice to her. Like, everything is great. They get married super quick. They get married, and then he whisks her off to his estate. I love that type of premise. Broke girl marries rich man, gets whisked off to some beautiful, to some big manor or whatever. Like, it's giving Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, and that is one of my favorite classics, right? But this is not Rebecca, okay? When we get to the estate, yes, strange things are happening with no explanation, and all that is just great and gothic, and right, we love that. I will not deny the fact that this has great gothic vibes, but what I will say is that I'm not a fan of characters that are hallucinating or just in a fever dream, and a lot of the, like, it's like once she gets to the manor, she doesn't know what's real, what's fake, and it's just, everything is just gray and just foggy, and it's just unclear. And for a large part of the book, you don't really know what's going on. You're just reading and just feeling around in the dark. That's what reading this book felt like to me. And I mean, some people be cool with that, but see me, I need to know what the hell is going on. Who am I rooting for? Who's the crazy people? Who's, you know what I mean? Like, I just felt like a little bit, like she could have gave us more. She didn't give us enough to make us feel like we need to keep going. I forced myself to finish this book because it popped up on audio on Libro. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to listen to the audio and see, if it gets any better. Like, I really wanted to know how it was going to shake out because, one, I already took a picture. And I was hoping maybe it was going to take a turn to where I would just love it and I could recommend it. And now I just, it's really like a 2.5 star for me. I really should have just DNF'd this. When I was reading it with my eyes, I was just like, I don't think I'm going back to this. It was just like sloshing through the snow, baby. Just sloshing through the snow. That's how I felt when I was reading this book. And that's unfortunate because, I'm always here for the, black authors writing the gothic, and it just sucks, Okay, so all in all, I feel like this video was so negative, but it is what it is, okay? I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna pull a wool over y'all eyes. Like, I have to tell the truth about these new releases because the people want to know. Y'all out here spending money. Y'all need to know what is worth spending money on and what you need to just be getting from the library, okay? So let me know down in the comments below if you have read any of these that I'm talking about. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Let's keep it respectful, but just let me know how you feel. So that is going to be it for this video. I hope that you have enjoyed it. Make sure you give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.